Demo, not for broadcast. Property of WABC New York.
If you're thinking about changing schools, why wait? At Manhattan University, love those guys. You don't have to start over. With transfer-friendly pathways, your credits count, and you keep moving forward. From day one, you're part of Jasper Nation, preparing for the real world. And with New York City just a train away, opportunity is everywhere. Ready to move forward without missing a step? Visit manhattan.edu/transfer and enroll today. Manhattan University. Don't start over, move forward.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight, anti-ICE protests are raging in Minneapolis and other cities. Just a little bit ago, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said she saw this happening all weekend long, and the White House said they are not stopping. They're going to send about 1,000 more officers to Minneapolis. They are not backing down.
President Trump and I actually spoke about this last night and how Secretary Noem is doing a phenomenal job, not just securing the border, which she and the president did together in record time, but also in defense of the brave men and women of ICE who put on a law enforcement uniform every single day to protect our communities and to protect all of you and every American, regardless if they are Democrat or Republican. ICE is doing a very important job to remove illegal alien criminals from our communities. And I think it's very striking that all weekend long, you had agitators and violent American citizens out in the streets of Minneapolis protesting. Protesting what exactly? Apparently, they are protesting the removal of heinous murderers and rapists and criminals from a city that I can guarantee you, when you look at the list of the illegal criminals that ICE is removing from our communities every day, not a single person in those protests and not a single person standing here that works in the mainstream media in Washington, D.C. would want those individuals in your neighborhood, in your community, around your children and around your families. ICE is doing an incredibly important job that's not just important to our homeland security, but our national security. And this administration will continue to stand wholeheartedly by the brave men and women of ICE, including that officer in Minneapolis who was absolutely justified in using self-defense against a lunatic who was part of a group, an organized group, to interject and to impede on law enforcement operations. And it's disgusting what we have seen from the left. And I think that it just shows you where the modern day Democrat Party stands today in protecting illegal alien pedophiles and rapists and murderers over law-abiding American citizens and our brave men and women who serve in law enforcement.
And just to give you an idea of people that they rounded up in just the last week, one guy, Jose Alejandro Alvarado, child sex assault conviction. Another guy, a registered sex offender. Another one, sex assault conviction. Another one, sex conduct conviction. And another one who had possession of opium and was involved in the opium trade. So these sound like real nice individuals that should be kept on the street. Here is Tom Homan, the border czar, talking about the role that the media plays in a lot of these protests. He says a lot of the mainstream media are to blame because they seem to think it's okay to go after ICE.
They want to, they normalize, the media is normalizing interference with ICE. It is a crime to impede ICE officers. Bill Mnuchin just put out a list of 18 of the worst of the worst in Minneapolis, many of them child sex crimes, child rape, child sodomy. These are the people we're looking for. For anybody to interfere in that is unconscionable. We need to enforce the law and arrest these bad guys. We've already arrested over 1,000 people in that state, and we're going to continue to do exactly what Congress has allowed us to do and what the law allows us to do.
And by the way, there was a pundit who was on MS Now television, and the pundit actually asked and didn't get a crazy response. And someone said this to me, I would go, "What, are you kidding me?" Said, "Why does an ICE agent have to have a gun?" Well, I just told you some of the people that they're rounding up. Don't you think they need a gun if they're dealing with pedophiles and others? I would say so. And anybody with half a brain would realize it's a good idea for them to be protected, especially if they're trying to round up murderers and rapists and child sex offenders. What are they supposed to lure them with a piece of candy? 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go back to Joaquin in Pennsylvania. And Joaquin, and I'm glad to be back with all of you guys.
You enjoyed your vacation.
Thank you. I miss you guys. I was watching. It's been a busy time in the news. I was like, whoa, look at what's going on with Maduro, with Trump. You can't even take off one day. There's so much going on in the world.
You know what? It's in many ways, it's a great thing that these things have all been happening. And I want to touch on two things, actually. Minnesota, but I didn't want to comment on Iran once, though.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm going off of memory now, so maybe you can back me up. I got the old-timers memory, but it seems to me that the first time that the Iranians went to overthrow the mullahs, and the ayatollahs, when Obama was in office, the Iranian economy was collapsing, okay, and it was the prime time for this to happen. And what did Obama do? He stepped in, and he actually released the pallets, lifted the oil embargoes, and basically flooded them back with money. That brought that whole situation to an end. So all those people suffered afterwards, basically because of Obama.
No, you bring up a great point. And you know what, Joaquin, that moment, you're right, was a very powerful moment. He came out and he said, oh, well, I didn't really think that they had a chance to overthrow the regime, so that's why we didn't help, and sort of left them to die, literally, and flail. And then, like you just said, they sent all the pallets of cash. And then you had the old appeasement policy of Joe Biden, because Joe Biden was vice president at that time, and he continued it when he was president, too. That whole appeasement policy, all the money. What do you think they did with all that money and the lack of sanctions on Iranian oil? All of that funded their war machine. And not only did it fund Iran, it also funded all their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, October 7th. All of them were flush with cash because Iran was funding them. And think about, had they not gotten that money from America, had America taken a hard line back at that moment, how different the world would be. And that's why I applaud President Trump for clearly taking a strong stance right now. It's a very important message right now. The world is watching. And if there's ever a moment, these people right now, there are people that are very closely aligned with the Iranian resistance. And they do believe that this is a moment that should not be missed. Not only is it internally, you've got, the restfulness of the people within there and the empowerment that they have. The resistance is much stronger now, much more cohesive. And then yet you also have President Trump in office. So, you look at all these things, you don't know how often this moment will come again. And if it's a different U.S. president, different dynamics in the world, you got Israel, you got Netanyahu, obviously, who would like to see the same thing happen to the overthrow of the mullahs as well. And they're willing to put, skin in the game clearly there, too. So, I mean, this is a big deal, right?
Exactly, yes. And now on to Minnesota. As I watch the videos of these ICE raids, I've been saying I can't believe that they're sending these agents into these neighborhoods, and it's basically almost like Custer going into the Little Bighorn with the 7th Cavalry and being completely outnumbered. I mean, that's not going to go good. But so now I'm glad to hear that they're actually going to send them in force, because that's what I would have done right away. Because this woman, she originally committed a crime. She ran her car across the road perpendicular to impede the ICE agents from being able to do their jobs. Now, as far as I know, if you commit a crime and an officer comes to apprehend you and you're in your car, you're basically trying to flee the scene. So trying to put any onus on this other officer for shooting her or for standing in front of the car, you're trying to detain the suspect. And she was the one who stepped on the gas and tried to get out of there, whether, it would be running him over or not. And the only thing I disagreed with Professor Dershowitz was when he said it depends on which shot hit her and killed her. I don't think it matters whether the car touched him or not. The fact of the matter is that they were trying to get her out of the car to apprehend her, to detain her, and that's what caused this. And when it comes right down to it, if I was running the operation, I would have, if they have to get federal tow trucks and create their own impound yards, I would start impounding these cars of people who are blocking the roads. Because let's face it, if you get arrested, let's say you get arrested for a DUI or anything, they're going to tow your car. They're going to impound it, and you're going to have to pay to get it out. You're going to have to pay for the towing in the whole 9 yards. So I think that you would very quickly stop a lot of this stuff if you start arresting these people. And I watched a video where a guy, a couple of ICE guys in a pickup truck with a camper cap, and they're being mobbed by people, and someone comes up from behind and smashes the windows in, they should be hunting these people down and arresting them. You basically assaulted an ICE vehicle. You destroyed government property. I mean, these are acts of violence.
I agree. And Joaquin, I'll do one better. I think they should tow the vehicles with the people inside the vehicles. Like, don't wait till,
right.
I think, you have the people in the vehicle going, whoa, 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 whoa. Because it is so dangerous to be blocking law enforcement. Some of them also have these whistles I brought up, where they have like the sign like, okay, if ICE is in the neighborhood, it's 2 whistles, it's 2 toots of the horn, And if it's 1 toot, it means they're close by. 2, they're right there. 3, it's many of them. I mean, who do these people think you are? Can you imagine? I mean, Joaquin, I grew up, if I ever disrespected law enforcement, either one of my parents would have beat my butt. I mean, there's no doubt.
Exactly.
I grew up in the home where it's like you respect law enforcement. If law enforcement tells you to stop, you stop. If law enforcement is in the area doing an investigation, the last thing you want to do is be nearby. Yet these people are professional paid agitators, many of them are, and they have no right to impede law enforcement. And I agree with you. I think part of what's gone wrong, and I think that Tom Homan and a number of these people that I've talked to many times have said, oh, yeah, if you impede, we're going to arrest you. And I think that they've given a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. I think they should have done a hard line from the beginning. The minute you impede law enforcement, there should be no gray. Because then it would, like you said, would dissuade so many others. Now it's like a cancer. It's like growing because they feel emboldened that they can stop law enforcement. And in many cases, they have. Like there was that case in New York not that long ago. Remember, they were about to go on an ICE raid and suddenly all these protesters blocked the driveway so they couldn't go out and do the ICE raid. And they were trying to get a pretty bad individual. But it didn't matter to these people. These people are like drinking some weird Kool-Aid. I mean, who in their right mind would say, oh, no, I'm going to defend these, these people that have child sex offenses in their background. But that seems to be the hill they're going to die on. Joaquin, hold on one second, because I want to play this clip. This is President Trump. He was on Air Force One, and he talked about Renee Good and her friend and what he thinks of them.
The woman and her friend were highly disrespectful of law enforcement. You saw that. They were harassing them, were following for days and for hours. And I think, frankly, they're professional agitators.
But just disrespect.
And I'd like to find out, and we are going to find out who's paying for it.
But just disrespect.
With their brand new signs and all the different things. But these are professional agitators, and law enforcement should not be in a position where they have to put up with this stuff. What that woman and what her friend and what their other friends were doing to law enforcement, not just ICE, law enforcement is outrageous.
It is outrageous. And Joaquin, they should throw the book at anybody. And I think they kind of let it go. I mean, there's been a few of these random cases like that Wisconsin judge, remember, who was sneaking out the person who showed up in court, sneaking that person out the back door when ICE showed up. I mean, that was a pretty no-brainer one. But I think when you look at these people who've been screaming, and even some members of Congress, I'm glad that LaMonica MacGyver, who looks like was shoving, remember, ICE agents when she showed up at that detention facility in Newark. I'm glad she got charged. But there's a lot of these people. I think if you are blocking law enforcement or doing something that would hamper an arrest, like blowing a whistle, or even if you're not standing right there, but you're doing something that's going to telegraph somebody, what if that person who they're about to arrest opens fire on law enforcement because they suddenly know ICE is coming? They're hearing a whistle. It's only a matter of time that maybe a number of law enforcement officers will get killed as a result of it. And I actually think Homan and these people should really take a hard line. If you impede or block or distract or do something that hampers a law enforcement investigation, throw the book at you. And if you're in the car blocking the roadway, tow the vehicle with you inside. And you're right. You got to pay to block. There should be something on your record. And if you do it a second time, you get thrown in the clink. Your thoughts real quick, Joaquin.
No, exactly, Rita. And of course, I'm more hardline than you, that they should be deporting most everybody. and especially the ones that came in under the Biden administration. But, the more that the left wants somebody to die, that's what they want, because they think that by this woman dying that, they're going to be able to force the federal government to back down. No, this is not the case. They put their sacrificial lamb up, unfortunately. And at this stage of the game, with all these mayors making threats like that, I would be going to every one of these cities where any one of these people opened up their mouths and said that, because this is federal law. And, as far as what Don was saying, backing off is not the way to go, because, quite frankly, I think that the people on the left, they're not going to vote for Trump or Republican anyway. But, however, continuing this fight and being stronger is going to definitely solidify the people who want to come out and preserve this country for, and its sovereignty.
I agree. It's a fight, I think, in many ways of good versus evil, or at least good versus lunacy. 1-800-848-9222.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And you can't make this up. Mehdi Hasan, whose show was canceled on MSNBC after he made some really reprehensible anti-Israel comments, essentially likening Israel's actions in Gaza to the Holocaust. Remember, he also called the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, the most immoral military. He got a lot of criticism from many different corners. Well, guess what? Now he is going to be on the faculty of Georgetown University. You can't make it up. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Thomas in New Jersey on line 1. Go ahead, Thomas.
Hey, Rita, welcome back. I hope you have you and your program a God bless New Year.
Thank you. You too, my friend. I hope you're doing well. What a crazy way the new year has started, huh?
Yes, indeed. Rita, what is that mayor's name? I should know it, but he's such a punk. I try to block it out of my mind. What's his name, please?
Are you talking about it in Minneapolis, Jacob Frey?
Yeah, Frey. I think, fried brains. You know what we do? We call him French fry. Do me a favor, Thomas, stick with us. We got a hard out. We're going to come back in a few minutes, and I got to get your thoughts on Frey.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
And last week, there were lots of protesters in Queens outside a synagogue, pro-Hamas protesters, saying it loudly and proudly. Remember this? That's incredible. Say it loudly. We support Hamas here. Not hiding it whatsoever. And Zohran Mamdani, the new mayor, by the way, who just moved into Gracie Mansion, the mayor's house, just a few hours ago, he and his wife, it took him a long time to condemn what was going on outside that synagogue. And if you listen to it, he didn't really condemn the actions. He just condemned the phrasing. Listen to this.
What do you think of those protesters that said we support Hamas here in Queens?
I think that language is wrong. I think that language has no place in New York City.
I think that language is wrong and it has no place in New York City. What about the actions? I guess protesting outside synagogues is okay? Wow, it's going to be interesting to see what happens now with Zohran Mamdani as the new mayor. I still can't believe it, guys. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go back to Thomas in New Jersey. Thanks, Thomas, for holding on. Go ahead on line one.
My pleasure, Rita. I'm glad to be part of your program. Getting back to the juvenile delinquent, Mayor Frey, I know he missed his political science in his civics class. He went when they were teaching bad words and naughty language. So it's like you're talking to children, Rita. These Democrats, this is not like get off my front lawn, get out of my backyard. Mayor Frey, let me dumb it down for you because you're like a bratty child. Federal jurisdiction means you don't get a say in the matter. When the feds come in on an immigration matter, not only do you not get a say, if you interfere with it, you are aiding and abetting obstruction of justice. And I think we got to stop grabbing the low-hanging fruit, Rita. And it's time for ICE to pull in Mayor Frey brains and say, hey, look there, youngster, if you get in the way, we're going to put you away as well. So you and your police force, whatever lefties actually would get involved in this, if you want to keep playing to the crowd, we're going to bring you in as well, Rita. That's what has to happen because they're like little brats that think this is like the front lawn or the backyard. They don't get it, or they're so ignorant they don't have the ability to get it. Don't you think, Rita?
Yeah, I agree. And I also agree that they need to finally say, listen, you need to set an example. I mean, the fact that there are elected officials like Frybrain who is out there and essentially saying it's okay to impede law enforcement and applauding it and inspiring it, that to me it's so reprehensible. It's so dangerous too. And more people will be sadly injured or killed with that kind of rhetoric when they're inspiring all these people out there to join groups like ICE Watch and do these things and block law enforcement or record them. What do they think is going to happen when law enforcement is trying to round up some really bad folks? I want to play a little bit of, here's a little bit of Frybrain, because not only was he dropping all those F-bombs, Thomas, but he was also trying to really create sort of a fictional narrative here, saying, remember that the law enforcement officer who was injured and taken to the hospital after Renee Good tried to drive away, it looks like in the video? Well, he said, oh, that never happened. Listen to sort of the other thing that he said. Not only, it seems like he never backs law enforcement in any shape or form. Here's what he said right after the shooting, Thomas.
Don't take my word for it. Don't take their word for it. Watch the video from every single angle. I mean, the ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips. He was not injured. I've seen worse injuries from doing that. And so give me a break. No, he was not ran over. He walked out of there with a hop in his step. And so we just got to get to the point where we're at least operating from, hey, this is like, we're looking at it on the video screen, this is what we're seeing, can we all see that it wasn't run over? And then, you know, yeah, J.D. Vance, this concept of absolute immunity is pretty bizarre.
I mean, that's an amazing statement, Thomas. Oh, he walked out of there, the guy with the skip in his step. Like the reason he was hobbling was because he was happy or something. And then listen to this, because I want to get your take on this, Thomas. You talked about really impeding law enforcement and driving this horrible narrative against law enforcement. It's not only coming from mayors. This to me was stunning. You're in New Jersey. Here's the Philly, Pennsylvania Sheriff Rochelle Bilal. And this is what she said on CNN. And this is shocking. This is a law enforcement official, obviously a Democrat. But listen to what she had to say.
I call them made up, fake, wannabe law enforcement. because what they do is against not only legal law, but the moral law. If any of them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. Nobody will wish you off. You don't want this smoke, because we will bring it to you. The criminal in the White House would not be able to keep you from going to jail.
Isn't that incredible, Thomas? These wannabe law enforcement. This is a local Philly sheriff saying that about federal agents. That to me is shocking, Thomas.
It is, Rita. The ignorance is profound. It's just amazing to me that these people are in positions of authority. I mean, they don't know the basic core elements of our law, our state law, and our federal jurisdiction. It's just like I don't know how you fix this, because there's so many bad apples. But I know how you start. You set an example against Mayor Frey, and you sit him down and maybe explain to him slowly and use very small words, and maybe he'll start to get it while he sits in a jail cell and gets to think about it. You know, it's just profound ignorance, and it's lawlessness and traitors and sedition, Rita. It's really, and we got to get big on it. We really got to get big on this, because it's spreading like cancer.
Yeah, no, you're right. And also she, I mean, you look at just that woman in particular, it's shocking. There should be some repercussions for a local law enforcement official who feels so emboldened that she could say that about federal. Again, it's in a blue city. She's clearly a blue city mayor, mayor's supporter there in that community. You look at Larry Krasner, who's the DA there. That's the guy with the revolving door of justice, the soft on crime, Soros-supported DA. So you have to wonder who's encouraging these people, and why in God's name would they ever say that, especially in this climate where things are like a tinderbox, and they know that what they're doing is inciting these people. And I think in the cases where they can go after them, I agree with you. It's time to get tough. And they should have done it to begin with, because maybe it wouldn't have maybe emboldened these other people to feel like they could do it. Thomas, thank you very much. Such an important discussion. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to John in Colorado on line 3. Go ahead, John. Your thoughts tonight.
Rita, Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they're the ones that have caused all these problems with Iran, with the illegal aliens, the ICE, the National Guard in these cities, these riots, people getting killed. You guys never talk about what's being done to them for doing all this to our country. And the second thing I want to mention...
by the way, hang on. Before you get to the second, it's a little tough to go after someone who's a sitting president, even if it's bad judgment.
He's not a president. They're crazy people that got elected into the White House. They're criminals that were in the White House. And the other thing I want to say, you never talk about gold and silver and how high the prices are getting on these metals. And every time they go up and up, our dollar becomes worth a lot. It devalues our dollar when the price of metals go up.
Well, no, that's an interesting point, John. And obviously, with everything going on with the economy, that's a very interesting point. The good news is oil prices seem to be coming down. We're seeing it at the gas pumps. That's at least a saving grace. But some great points there, John. Thank you very much. Let's go to Pete in Staten Island, line 4. Go ahead, Pete. Your thoughts tonight.
Hi, Rita. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Whatever you did, I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
This thing with that. You have to follow orders of authorities, police, the government. When I get stopped for a ticket, I make sure that I have my hands showing on the steering wheel where the officer could see my hands, because that's a big important thing. I am driving over 50 years, and I don't have one moving violation. I have been stopped for them, but I always fought them and won. But the thing that my point is, you have to obey the officer. I did the job for a short period of time, and it is a rough job. You have to have your head on top and thinking every minute.
Now, what job, Pete, what job did you do for a short period of time?
Well, I was an officer. I was NYPD.
Oh, bravo.
I was also with the fire department. And I left the NYPD because I became what they call a CI, a confidential informant. What I would do, I would go into jail cells and try to get a confession. Like if somebody was missing. I worked on the case of Andre Rand, the Willowbrook murderer who killed 4 children with Down syndrome. He buried them alive. We were able to capture him to get a confession, and he let know where one of the girls was. And the girl was a relative of Vito Pacone, a niece of the elegant.
By the way, Pete, when are you writing your book? You've had such an interesting life. I'm telling you.
Simon and Schuster, Carly Simon, who I dated in the 70s, she is doing a book. We are in the midst of doing it, but I'm moving very slow because with the health issues that I have had, it set me back a little bit.
Well, Pete, I cannot wait to read your book because you've had not 9 lives, you've had 19 lives. And you have had so many interesting experiences being the informant. I know you mentioned at one point doing the stagehand, doing all this stuff. So I can't wait to read it. And Simon & Schuster, if indeed they end up doing a book with you, they are smart folks because you are terrific. Pete, thank you very, very much. Wow, wow, wow. Let's go to Phil in the Bronx on line 3. Go ahead, Phil.
Hi, Rita. Welcome back.
Thank you, my friend. I haven't talked to you in a while. I hope you're doing well.
I'm all right. I hope same for you.
Thank you very much.
Here's the thing that I'm calling about is that the current situation with ICE, that situation with Miss Good and all the rest of it, it's sad because I would say at least the vast, vast majority of this country, consisting of American citizens who are basically law-abiding, they don't have any problem with what ICE is doing. And you've got 5% of this country, which consists of illegals who come here as indigents from foreign countries, selling drugs, murdering, raping, whatever. And you have that very tiny last little percent of people who oppose ICE. They blockade the streets. They throw concrete at them. They threaten them. They shoot at them. These are anarchists. I don't know about terrorists, but I know for a fact that they are practicing anarchy. They are disrupting the administration of lawful government and the laws that the government has promulgated.
So what needs to be done? Yeah, what needs to be done, Phil, to them?
Oh, I could tell you right now. It's very simple. That the government must put out public spots, public 30-second spots on the internet, on mass media, on the radio and television, and explain to the public exactly what is happening, why ICE is out there, and number 2, that anyone who knowingly interferes or willfully interferes with the administration of these federal agents, ICE or other agencies, or people who facilitate their efforts will be apprehended, they will be arrested and charged with a serious federal crime, which could include fine and long-term imprisonment. And remember, think twice, don't mess with ICE. That should be the slogan at the end of the spot.
By the way, I love that. And I also love the fact that I think a lot of them, if they knew that they could end up in the clink for, some sort of impeding action or threatening action against law enforcement, I actually think a lot of them would stop because I think they think, okay, well, I can get away with it. I can do this. It's like a child. That they kind of test you, and to see how far they can go. And I will just say that I feel like the agents with ICE and with the Customs and Border Patrol, they deserve medals just for their patience. They have the patience of Job, the patience of saints, I'm telling you, because how else could they handle all the spitting and the chanting and the pushing and the shoving and the rocks and the bottles being thrown at them? It's amazing the restraint that they have shown, and there needs to be a clear line, and it probably needs to start now. It's too late. It's a little late. They should have done it from the very beginning. But I agree with you. What was your line again about ICE? Give me that line again, Phil, that you had.
Well, because of all the negativity of the left-wing press, the public's only getting one side of the
Yeah, but what was your motto? What was your slogan?
And twisted.
What was your slogan again about ICE?
Quote? Oh, yeah. Think twice. Don't mess with ICE.
I love it. That's a good line. Think twice. Don't mess with ICE. Phil, great line and really great to hear from you. And everybody, will continue your calls after the break. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from Albuquerque, New Mexico, where a local World War II veteran was honored over the weekend. Veteran Ellis Fish said he never thought he'd see the day where he would become 100 years old, a centenarian. Yet he celebrated with many family and friends. By the way, he served aboard a B-24 Liberator with the U.S. Army Air Corps during the Second World War. The B-2 Liberator was deployed to every theater of World War II to provide critical aerial bombing support. And everybody, help America to never, ever forget. Donate just $11 a month to the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. You know how much I love them. Be sure to check them out at t2t.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org. And we'll take your calls after the break. 1-800-848-9222.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And Milwaukee Bucks NBA coach Doc Rivers coming out and commenting on the Minnesota ICE shooting. It seems like everybody's got an opinion, calling the shooting straight up murder. That's his opinion. I suggest he stick to basketball. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Jay in Rockaway, Queens. Jay, your thoughts tonight?
Yes, Rita Cosby, when you was on vacation, I put on the radio and like the show was missing something. You are the greatest.
Thank you very much, Jay. I really appreciate it. I missed all of you guys, too, because I love you guys.
Yeah, let me ask one more thing. When Trump is on the airplane giving a speech on Air Force One, there's a lady right behind him, Caroline Levitt.
Yes.
She is fantastic.
She is. By the way, I think Caroline Levitt is one of the most effective, by far, White House press secretaries out there. I mean, she takes a lot of verbal incoming and she throws it back with the best of them. I've known Caroline a long time, and she's also a great woman. By the way, she's pregnant again. She just had a baby recently, and now she's going to have another one. So she's a busy lady, too, and a great person. Talk to you tomorrow, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.